the miners' gift to us was to actually empower us. And I feel forever indebted to the trade union movement because of that.
It's important that if you're defending communities, that you also defend all communities.
Victory! Victory to the miners!
What people would find hard to understand now, if they were too young to have known the miners' strike, was quite how it divided Britain. It was enormous. Thatcher had been in power for 5 years by now, and she'd been attacking working class communities and working class values and working class institutions right since 1979. And I think an awful lot of us realised this was not about coal. It wasn't about coal mining. It wasn't about economics. This was an assault on trade unionism itself.
There are people in this country who are the great destroyers. They wish to destroy the kind of free society we have. Many of those people are in the unions.
One of the things that Thatcher did was that she froze the assets of the NUM. So get that, you're a trade unionist, you've been paying into a strike fund, thousands of you, for years and years and years, so that when you go on strike, you can get a little bit of money from the union. She just marauded into their bank funds and said, no, we're seizing that, you can't have it. So she was clearly trying to starve the miners back to work. The press were vilifying the miners, they vilified Arthur Scargill.
Miners, I salute you! You're magnificent! Together!
The BBC switched footage round at the Orgreave dispute, and what it made it look like was that the miners attacked the police, whereas in fact it was the opposite way round.
But an ugly streak of violence has disfigured our television screens night after night.
We too were being vilified by the media and the press. We too were being attacked by the police. We felt like we had quite a lot in common with the miners.
Who hates the miners? Thatcher? Who else? The police, the public and the tabloid press. It sounds familiar.
Thank you very much.
So as secretary I wrote this letter, and I remember posting it and thinking, God, I'd love to be a fly on the wall when somebody at the other end opens that one. There's a bunch of queers in London wants to support, you know, what do you think about that?
LGSM. What does that stand for then?
But of course it would be naive, stupid and just plain wrong to say that there weren't homophobes amongst the mining community. Of course there were homophobes everywhere in government as well as in mining communities, who cares? And they took a democratic decision to treat us like they treated all their other supporters, to invite us down to their community. Young, charity shop chic, old, you know, trendy Londoners walk through that double swing door, and initially there's a drop in the tenor of conversation, and it was like, that's us. And then somebody started clapping, and the whole 200 to 300 people in that room started applauding us. And I just felt, I've come home. I've been accepted. This is where I came from, metaphorically, yeah. And all I ever wanted was to be accepted. And I've got that acceptance. And I just thought, I will never turn my back on you people. And I can't tell you the strength that gave us. One of the early things that the miners did was that they started voluntarily wearing our badges on their lapels. That was a bit like, oh, okay. So they would say, you know, because there was a great exchange of badges during the miners' strike, and they would say, can I have your badge? And so it was amazing to think that these miners were going on picket lines, up against the police, up against the scabs. They were going to national demonstrations, they were doing flying picketing, wearing gay badges. And that was amazing that they got it. We didn't want money, they needed money. What we needed was solidarity, support and identity and comradeship.
The miners' strike is over. The NUM is recommending all its members to go back to work on Tuesday.
The miners, united, will never be defeated! The miners, united, will never be defeated!
We were actually down in Wales when the National Union Mine Workers made the national decision to return to work, and that was a terribly sad weekend. One of the miners stood up and just said, well, our fight is over now. But now it's our turn to support those who've supported us. And he said none more so than the lesbians and gays.
We've come to know gay and lesbian people, you know, because their struggles, something similar to ours. We've suffered in the last year what they've been suffering all their lives and are likely to continue to suffer unless we do something about it.
And in October 1985, lesbian and gay rights became adopted as a trade union issue in Britain. And from there, it moved abroad. The miners' gift to us was to actually empower us. And I feel forever indebted to the trade union movement because of that. You're angry, join a trade union. If you're lonely, join a trade union. If you want to have some good times, join a trade union. It's ordinary people that bring about real change in the world. What they don't want you to do is loud and noisy and active. And it's great when you do, believe me.